Cool your feet. This is one of the most effective sleep hacks, and many of us do it instinctively. There's a good reason for that. Your body needs to cool down slightly before it can fall asleep. That drop in core temperature is one of the brain's main cues to start the sleep cycle, and your feet happen to be one of the fastest ways to trigger that signal. That's because the blood vessels in your feet are close to the surface. When your feet are exposed to cooler air, they act like heat vents, helping your body release excess warmth. As your core temperature drops, your nervous system shifts into rest mode. Heart rate slows down, muscles loosen up, and your brain starts preparing for sleep. This is why so many people naturally kick off the blankets or hang one foot out without even thinking. It's an instinctive way to self-regulate temperature. And in some cases, it's the only thing that helps. If you tend to feel overheated at night, or if you're dealing with hot flashes, cooling your feet can be a game changer. That could mean sleeping barefoot, placing a fan near your feet, dipping them in cool water before bed, or even wrapping a chilled gel pack in a towel for a few minutes. No complicated routines, no medication, just basic body physics working in your favor. Once your feet cool down, the rest of your body gets the message. And when your body gets the message, your brain follows. 4-7-8 breathing technique. This breathing technique is a simple way to calm your system when your mind feels stuck in high gear. Here's how it works. You inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 7 seconds. Then, exhale slowly through your mouth for 8 seconds. That's 1 round. The pattern is slow and deliberate, and that's the point. This breathing rhythm helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for calming the body down. When you hold your breath after inhaling, carbon dioxide builds up slightly, which signals to the brain that it can ease off on alertness. The extended exhale is especially powerful. It slows the heart rate, relaxes the muscles, and lowers blood pressure. Together, those steps help shift you from a state of tension to one of relaxation. It's a tool often recommended for sleep, anxiety, and even panic because it gives the body a clear physical cue to relax. And it's easy to learn. You don't need a quiet room, a meditation cushion, or even a lot of time. You just need a few minutes and your breath. 1 round usually takes about 20 seconds. Doing 4 cycles in a row is a good starting point. The effect builds gradually. You might notice your thoughts slow down, your jaw unclench, or your chest feel less tight. It's not a trick or a hack. It's a way to restore balance between the breath and the nervous system, giving the brain permission to slow down and giving the body a moment of reset. Simple, quiet, and surprisingly effective. Guided visualization hack. After a long day, the hardest part can be slowing down your mind. Guided visualization is a simple yet powerful hack to help with that. Guided visualization is a technique where you mentally picture calming, peaceful scenes or scenarios, often with the help of a narrator or audio recording. Instead of trying to force yourself to sleep, you focus on imagining a relaxing place, a quiet beach, a gentle forest, or even floating on a soft cloud. This focused mental imagery helps redirect your thoughts away from stress, worries, or racing to-do lists. The process starts by getting comfortable and closing your eyes. Then, you listen to a guided narration that walks you through the scene step by step, encouraging you to picture the details, the sound of waves, the feel of sand under your feet, the warmth of the sun. This creates a vivid sensory experience that occupies your mind without demanding active problem solving or decision making. What makes this hack effective is how it quiets the brain's default mode network, the part responsible for mind wandering and overthinking. By giving your brain something simple and soothing to focus on, guided visualization breaks the cycle of anxious or scattered thoughts. You don't need to be an expert to try it. There are plenty of free guided visualization recordings available online, tailored for sleep or relaxation. Even a few minutes of this practice can reduce heart rate, ease muscle tension, and prepare your nervous system for rest. By making guided visualization part of your bedtime routine, you train your mind to let go and ease into sleep more naturally. It's a gentle, accessible way to calm your brain and turn down the volume on daily stress without relying on medication or complicated techniques. Hot bath drop-off. A warm bath feels good at the end of the day, but there's more to it than comfort. It actually helps your body get into the right state for sleep. When you sit in hot water, your body temperature rises. But once you get out, it starts to cool down quickly. That cooling process is what helps trigger your natural sleep response. It mimics the internal temperature drop your body normally uses to shift into rest mode. This drop in temperature helps signal your brain to release melatonin and begin slowing down the nervous system. That's why a bath can feel so relaxing, not just in the moment, but in the way it prepares your body to power down afterward. It's also a way to release physical tension. Warm water increases blood flow, so muscles loosen and tightness fades. If you've been sitting at a desk all day or carrying stress in your shoulders, the warmth helps reset your body. That makes it easier to lie still and fall asleep more comfortably. A full bath isn't the only option. A warm shower can also work, or even just soaking your feet in a small tub. The point is to give your body a short period of gentle heat, followed by natural cooling. That contrast is what shifts you into sleep mode. You don't need fancy oils or a spa setup. Just water, warmth, and a few minutes of calm. It's one of the simplest ways to move your body out of daytime mode and into something slower, quieter, and better aligned with sleep. Cozy nest strategy. Everyone sleeps better when they feel safe, warm, and undisturbed. And that's the entire idea behind the cozy nest strategy. At its core, this approach is about transforming your bed into a space that signals rest on every level. It starts with layers. Think soft, breathable sheets, a plush comforter, and maybe an extra blanket folded nearby. But beyond temperature and materials, it's also about structure. Some people sleep better when slightly cocooned, using a body pillow on one side, or tucking the blanket in more snugly around the legs. It mimics the way babies are swaddled for calm. You're creating subtle pressure around the body that can promote relaxation without even noticing it. The second part of the strategy is about cutting distractions. That means minimizing visual clutter. Too many bright colors or open items near your bed, like chargers, unfolded laundry, or bags, can make the space feel unfinished. In a proper cozy nest, everything you see and touch should feel quiet and comfortable. It helps the brain switch out of alert mode. Lighting matters too. Dim or amber-toned lighting in the evening helps keep the body's internal clock on track. Add in a familiar scent like lavender or chamomile, and the sensory cues start lining up. Your environment becomes a system of gentle signals that tell your body, you're safe. You can let go. Some people even use sound to complete the nest. A white noise machine, a fan, or a soft playlist that doesn't change too abruptly. The point isn't to copy someone else's perfect setup. It's to intentionally build a space that feels low pressure and comfortable for your own nervous system. The more your surroundings support rest, the less effort it takes to fall into it. Banana before bed. Bananas can do more for your sleep than most people realize. They contain 3 nutrients that work together to help your body wind down. potassium, magnesium, and tryptophan. Potassium and magnesium are electrolytes that support muscle relaxation. If you've ever felt twitchy legs or general tension at night, these minerals help calm your system and reduce that restlessness. Tryptophan is an amino acid that plays a different role. Your body uses it to produce serotonin, which is involved in mood regulation, and melatonin, the hormone that controls your sleep-wake cycle. Bananas contain a small but useful amount of tryptophan, and the natural carbohydrates in the fruit help your body absorb it more easily. The advantage here is how accessible this is. No complicated supplements or elaborate routines. Just eat a banana 30 to 60 minutes before bed. It's light, naturally sweet, and won't cause the kind of blood sugar spike that interferes with sleep. For people who find themselves slightly hungry at bedtime or wake up in the night feeling empty, it's an easy way to stabilize energy levels without disrupting the sleep process. There's also no need to overthink it. One banana is enough. No blending, no fancy timing, no measuring. Just a simple, consistent habit that works well with your body's existing rhythms. If sleep feels inconsistent or restless, this kind of small dietary change can make a noticeable difference. It supports the processes your body already relies on to transition into rest without the side effects of over-the-counter sleep aids. Limited screen at night. You don't have to give up screens completely, but how you use them at night can quietly shape the quality of your sleep. Most screens, phones, tablets, TVs, give off blue light. That light tells your brain it's still daytime, which delays the release of melatonin, the hormone that helps you wind down. So even if you're physically tired, your brain may still be running in daytime mode. That's where the idea of limiting screens at night comes in. It's not about being strict, it's about being selective. Instead of cutting out all devices, start by dimming the brightness an hour or so before bed. Use night shift mode if your device has it, or put on a pair of blue light blocking glasses. And think about what you're watching or reading. Intense content, like news or fast-paced videos, keeps your mind alert. But slower, low-stimulation content, like a documentary or calm music, is less likely to interfere with your sleep signals. If you're able to swap that last bit of screen time for a book, a quiet stretch, or even just a few minutes of stillness, the effects can build quickly. Your brain starts associating that routine with rest instead of stimulation. This isn't about perfection, it's about helping your body shift gears so sleep doesn't feel so far out of reach. Even a small change in screen habits can help your system reset more naturally, and that makes falling asleep feel less like effort and more like something your body just knows how to do. Ceiling stare trick. When you find yourself lying awake at night, sometimes the simplest action can help reset your mind and body. That's where the ceiling stare comes in, a straightforward technique that uses stillness and focus to gently ease you towards sleep. The ceiling stare means lying comfortably on your back and directing your gaze softly upward at the ceiling. This simple posture encourages relaxation by promoting a calm, neutral focus. Instead of fighting restless thoughts or trying to force sleep, you allow your eyes to rest in one place, which helps reduce mental activity. Why does this work? The brain tends to follow the direction of your gaze. When your eyes are fixed on a quiet, unmoving point, your mind naturally slows down. It prevents the usual eye movements associated with alertness and active thinking, which signals your nervous system to relax. This technique also helps shift your attention away from distractions like phone screens, clocks, or the noise of your surroundings. By focusing on the ceiling, a blank, consistent surface, you create a mental space that isn't stimulating, but isn't stressful either. The ceiling stare is easy to try anytime you feel stuck in a cycle of wakefulness. It's especially helpful when you want a gentle, non-intrusive way to calm down. It doesn't require any special equipment or preparation, just your own presence and a quiet moment. Over time, practicing the ceiling stare can train your mind to associate this calm, focused state with bedtime. It becomes a simple cue that signals your body to slow down and prepare for rest. In its quiet simplicity, the ceiling stare offers a powerful way to help you drift off without struggle. Color drain. Imagine being able to lower your mental energy simply by imagining the world losing its color. That's the idea behind the color drain, a mental technique designed to help calm your mind and prepare your body for sleep. The color drain involves visualizing the vibrant colors around you slowly fading to shades of gray and white. As the colors drain away, your brain starts to associate the loss of brightness with relaxation and winding down. This subtle shift in perception encourages your nervous system to slow down and signals that it's time to rest. Colors are powerful stimuli. Bright or vivid colors can energize and stimulate your brain, making it harder to relax. On the other hand, muted tones and the absence of color tend to be calming, promoting a sense of stillness. By mentally draining the colors, you create a quiet, neutral mental space that helps reduce mental clutter. You might imagine a colorful room gradually fading into a soft grayscale, or picture a sunset losing its reds and oranges until everything becomes calm and muted. This visualization doesn't require detailed imagery, just a simple awareness of colors dimming and calming. The color drain technique helps distract the mind from active thinking or worry, focusing it instead on a gentle, soothing transformation. This makes it easier to shift out of alertness and into restfulness. It's a practical, low-effort way to influence your mental state, especially useful when your brain feels too active at bedtime. By slowing down your sensory experience through visualization, the color drain supports a smoother transition into sleep, showing how a small mental trick can have a big impact on rest. Alphabet countdown. When your mind refuses to quiet down at night, a simple, structured mental exercise can help guide it gently towards sleep. That's the principle behind the alphabet countdown. The alphabet countdown is exactly what it sounds like. You mentally go through the alphabet in reverse order, from Z to A. But instead of just reciting letters, you add a layer of focus by associating each letter with a word, place, or object. For example, Z for zebra, Y for yacht, X for xylophone, and so on. This exercise serves several purposes. First, it engages your brain in a low-stakes, repetitive task that requires just enough attention to distract from intrusive or stressful thoughts. Unlike worrying or planning, the alphabet countdown isn't emotionally charged or mentally taxing, so it doesn't fuel anxiety. Second, the structured nature of the task creates a predictable rhythm. Your brain loves patterns, and this steady progression helps it shift from the chaos of racing thoughts to a calmer, more ordered state. By focusing on a neutral mental activity, you give your mind something simple to do that doesn't demand high cognitive effort. This subtle engagement occupies your mental workspace just enough to block out distractions, but not enough to keep you awake. People often find that they naturally drift off before reaching the end of the alphabet. The exercise works because it's repetitive, easy to customize, and accessible anytime, anywhere. No special tools needed. The alphabet countdown is a practical mental tool for anyone struggling with restless thoughts at bedtime. It's a gentle way to help your brain wind down and make space for sleep, one letter at a time. Gratitude yawn. Yawning is one of those strange, universal actions we all do, often without thinking twice. But did you know that combining a yawn with a moment of gratitude can actually help ease you into sleep more peacefully? That's the simple but powerful idea behind the gratitude yawn. The concept is straightforward. When you yawn, your body takes in a deep breath, increasing oxygen flow and helping your muscles relax. Yawning also signals your brain to start winding down, making it a natural cue for rest. By pairing this physical action with a conscious focus on things you're thankful for, you shift your mind from stress or worry to calm appreciation. This combination works on two levels. Physically, the yawn encourages relaxation and slows your heart rate. Mentally, gratitude activates parts of the brain linked to positive emotions and reduces the activity of stress-related areas. Together, they help create a sense of calm that prepares both body and mind for sleep. Putting it into practice is simple. As you lie in bed, take a slow, deliberate yawn. While you do, think about something, anything, you're grateful for that day. It could be something small, like a good meal, a kind word, or even the comfort of your pillow. Let that feeling of appreciation fill your mind as you exhale. Even if you don't feel immediately sleepy, this gentle shift in focus can soften mental tension and make it easier to relax. The gratitude yawn is an accessible, no-cost sleep aid that taps into your body's natural rhythms and your mind's ability to find calm. It's a small, mindful habit that can make the transition to restful sleep a little smoother and a lot kinder. Reverse alarm. Most people set an alarm to wake up. But if sleep is the goal, it makes just as much sense to set one to wind down. This is called a reverse alarm, a simple reminder to stop what you're doing and start preparing for bed. The idea is to treat bedtime with the same priority as waking up. Just like a morning alarm cues your brain to get up and start the day, a reverse alarm tells your brain it's time to slow down and shift into a different mode. Here's how it works. You set an alarm about 60 to 90 minutes before your ideal bedtime. When it goes off, that's your signal to begin reducing stimulation. That might mean turning off the TV, putting away your phone, dimming the lights, or switching to quieter, low-energy activities. It's not about going to bed immediately. It's about creating a transition period that your brain can recognize. This matters because the body doesn't shift gears instantly. Sleep is regulated by gradual changes in hormone levels, body temperature, and mental activity. If you go straight from working or scrolling to trying to sleep, those systems don't have enough time to adjust. The result is often tossing, turning, or delayed sleep. A reverse alarm gives you a chance to ease into that change. It's a cue to switch from stimulation to stillness. Over time, it also becomes a habit loop, an automatic link between that sound and the start of your nighttime routine. You don't need a special app. Just use your phone, your watch, or even a smart speaker. Pick a time that works for your schedule and treat it like a fixed part of your day. It's one of the simplest ways to support consistent, high-quality sleep. Gentle wake-up plan. Most people wake up to the sound of a loud alarm, a jolt that triggers stress before the day even begins. The gentle wake-up plan flips that approach. It's a method designed to ease your body out of sleep instead of shocking it awake. The idea is simple. Your brain and body don't like abrupt transitions. Just like you need time to fall asleep, you also need time to wake up smoothly. A harsh alarm activates your fight or flight system, increasing heart rate and cortisol levels. It's not a great way to start the day. With a gentle wake-up, the goal is to introduce gradual sensory input, soft light, gentle sound, and small physical movements. That's why some people use sunrise alarm clocks, which simulate dawn by slowly increasing brightness over 30 minutes. This light signals the body to reduce melatonin and begin producing cortisol in a natural rhythm. Pair that with calming sounds instead of beeping, like soft music, nature noises, or low-volume radio. These help bring your mind online without creating panic. Some people even set 2 alarms. The first with soothing music as a cue to start stirring, and a second one 10 to 15 minutes later, slightly louder to mark the real wake-up time. Adding small rituals also helps reinforce the transition. A stretch in bed, a warm drink, or simply sitting up before standing. These steps give your body time to reorient and shift out of sleep inertia, that groggy, disoriented feeling you get from waking up too fast. The gentle wake-up plan isn't about sleeping longer, it's about waking smarter. And over time, that shift in how your day begins can make a noticeable difference in how the rest of it goes. 90-minute rule. Waking up feeling groggy isn't always about how long you sleep. It's often about when you wake up. That's where the 90-minute sleep cycle rule comes in. Instead of aiming for a specific number of hours, this approach focuses on waking up at the end of a sleep cycle rather than in the middle of one. A full cycle lasts about 90 minutes and includes light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. Waking up at the end of one of these cycles tends to feel smoother and more natural because your brain is already on its way toward being awake. The problem comes when you wake up in the middle of deep sleep. That's when you get that foggy, disoriented feeling known as sleep inertia. It's not about whether you got 8 hours or not. It's about where in the cycle your alarm interrupts you. Using the 90-minute rule means planning your bedtime or wake-up time in multiples of 90 minutes. For example, instead of just aiming for 8 hours, try 7.5 or 9. That way, you're more likely to wake up at the end of a full cycle. There are also sleep calculators online that can estimate when to set your alarm based on when you plan to fall asleep. Of course, not every cycle is exactly 90 minutes. Some variation is normal, but using this as a rough guide can still reduce that jarring, exhausted feeling in the morning. Over time, your body may even start waking up just before the alarm, right as a cycle finishes. This method doesn't require more sleep. It just means sleeping in the right chunks. And for many people, that small shift can make mornings feel completely different. Pajama ritual. Changing into pajamas might seem like a small step, but it plays a surprisingly powerful role in preparing the body and mind for rest. The pajama ritual is more than just putting on sleepwear. It's about creating a clear psychological boundary between the busyness of the day and the calm of the night. Just like work clothes signal productivity or gym clothes signal movement, pajamas are a cue for rest. When this change becomes consistent, the brain starts to associate the act with winding down. This idea builds on something called behavioral conditioning. Over time, if you always change into the same pair of pajamas before doing calming activities like reading, stretching, or listening to soft music, your brain learns that pajamas equal relaxation. That connection strengthens each night, making it easier to shift into sleep mode. But the key is in making it a ritual. That doesn't mean it needs to be complex or spiritual. It just means it's done in the same order, with some level of intention. Maybe you fold your day clothes, wash your face, and put on pajamas right after dinner. Or maybe it's the last thing you do before slipping into bed. The consistency is what builds the association. The type of pajama also matters more than people think. Comfortable, breathable fabric can prevent overheating or irritation during the night. And if you reserve your sleepwear only for sleep, it reinforces that this outfit has a specific job to help you rest. What starts as a basic nightly habit can quickly become a useful mental trigger. Over time, just the feeling of pulling on those same soft clothes can help shift the nervous system into a calmer state. It's a simple, low-effort hack that turns an ordinary moment into a reliable sleep signal. The bed is for sleep rule. If you spend hours lying in bed awake, your brain might be getting the wrong message. The bed is for sleep rule is based on a simple idea. Your brain builds associations over time. When you regularly scroll your phone, watch TV, or worry in bed, your brain starts to link that space with wakefulness instead of rest. The result is that falling asleep becomes harder, not because of stress or insomnia alone, but because the bed no longer feels like a cue for sleep. This rule comes from a behavioral approach called stimulus control. It's used in cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia and focuses on reinforcing a clear connection between your bed and sleeping. The method is straightforward. Only use your bed for sleep and, if applicable, intimacy. That's it. If you're lying awake for more than about 20 minutes, don't stay in bed. Get up, move to another room, and do something quiet and non-stimulating until you feel drowsy. Then, return to bed and try again. The point is to avoid teaching your brain that the bed is a place to be awake, frustrated, or mentally active. Over time, this creates a cleaner mental link. You lie down, and your body recognizes the cue. There's no confusion, no mixed signals, just a reliable association between your bed and falling asleep. It also helps to avoid lounging in bed during the day, even for short naps or reading. The clearer the boundary, the stronger the association becomes. The bed is not just a location, it's a behavioral signal. And keeping that signal consistent makes a big difference in how easily and deeply you sleep. The Swiss cheese method. When it comes to tackling big problems, or even just improving your sleep, sometimes the best approach is to take small, manageable steps instead of trying to fix everything at once. That's the idea behind the Swiss cheese method. Named after the famously hole-filled cheese, this method is about stacking multiple small solutions, or layers, to cover the gaps one by one. Each individual step might not be perfect or complete on its own, like a slice of Swiss cheese with holes. But when combined with others, those holes get covered, creating a solid barrier. Applied to sleep, the Swiss cheese method means trying several small habits that each improve your rest a little bit. For example, maybe you start by dimming the lights in the evening, then add a consistent bedtime, followed by limiting caffeine intake, and later introduce a calming pre-sleep routine. None of these alone might solve your sleep struggles, but together they build a stronger foundation. The strength of this method is its flexibility. You don't need to overhaul your entire routine overnight. Instead, you pick a few easy changes and gradually add more over time, adapting what works and dropping what doesn't. This reduces overwhelm and helps you stick with better habits longer. It also acknowledges that no single solution is perfect. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes one strategy might fail on a given night. But with multiple layers in place, one small slip doesn't derail the whole plan. The Swiss cheese method turns sleep improvement into a manageable, step-by-step process. It's about progress over perfection, layering small wins to build a safer, more reliable path toward better rest. Journal then sleep. Sometimes the hardest part about falling asleep is simply getting your thoughts to slow down. That's where nighttime journaling comes in. The idea is simple. Before you go to bed, take a few minutes to write things down. It could be a list of what happened today, a few things you're worried about, or even a quick plan for tomorrow. The point isn't to craft perfect sentences. It's just to move thoughts from your head onto the page. Why does this help? Because your brain is trying to hold on to open loops, unfinished tasks, unresolved conversations, things you don't want to forget. By writing them down, you're telling your brain, it's handled. That frees up mental space and reduces the background noise that can keep you wired when you're trying to wind down. There are different ways to do it. Some people prefer brain dumps, just jotting down whatever comes to mind, no structure, no filter. Others like to focus on gratitude, noting a few good things from the day. And some find it helpful to write a to-do list for tomorrow, just to stop their mind from rehearsing it all night. What matters is consistency. Keeping a notebook by your bed makes the habit easy. It's a small signal to your body that the day is over and it's safe to rest. No need to fix everything or solve every problem tonight. It's on the page, and that's enough. Journaling before bed won't erase stress, but it can give your thoughts a place to go so they don't keep circling around. For many people, that's the difference between lying in bed wide awake and actually being able to fall asleep. Room purge. It's hard to relax when your space feels like it's closing in on you. The concept of a room purge is all about removing clutter from your bedroom so it can actually serve its purpose, helping you rest. When too much stuff piles up, your brain doesn't fully disengage. Even if you're not consciously thinking about the mess, your environment is sending subtle signals that things are unfinished or chaotic. A room purge isn't just about aesthetics, it's functional. You're creating a space that tells your body it's time to wind down. That starts with removing anything that doesn't need to be there. Laundry piles, unread mail, old chargers, empty cups. Then there are the distractions. Your laptop, unused exercise equipment, the box of random cables under the bed. If it's not directly helping you sleep, it's probably working against you. Think of it like editing. You're cutting out visual noise. The fewer things your eyes have to process, the easier it is to shift into a calm mental state. You don't need to buy organizers or redesign the room. You just need to make intentional decisions about what stays and what goes. Some people go a step further and make this a weekly habit. Every Sunday, they do a quick scan of the room, put things back where they belong, and reset the space. It's not about perfection, it's about reducing friction. A cleaner room doesn't solve everything, but it makes it easier to fall asleep without feeling overstimulated. And once you've experienced that mental clarity, it becomes obvious how much your space was affecting you in the background. Bedroom is for sleep. That's the logic behind turning your bedroom into a sleep-only space, a kind of personal sleep temple. It's not about making the room fancy or silent or perfectly lit. It's about making it consistent. A space where your brain knows, without hesitation, that its only job is to shut down and rest. The science behind this is called stimulus control. Your brain forms associations between places and activities. If you eat, work, scroll, and stress in bed, your brain stops linking that space with sleep. But if you consistently use your bedroom, and especially your bed, only for sleeping and resting, it becomes a trigger. Just walking into that space can start calming your system down. That starts with removing distractions. No desk, no TV, no open laptop glowing in the corner. The fewer competing activities in the room, the stronger the association becomes. Even clutter matters. A messy bedroom subtly tells your brain the environment isn't settled yet, which keeps you from relaxing fully. Light and sound also play a role. Blackout curtains, dim lighting, and consistent white noise can all help create an environment your body understands as night mode. But the foundation is behavioral. If your brain learns that entering this space means shutting off, the rest falls into place more easily. It doesn't require any special products, just a shift in how the space is used. The more tightly you guard the bedroom's purpose, the easier it becomes to sleep in it. Over time, your body picks up on the signal and starts preparing for rest as soon as you walk through the door. Tidy room, tidy mind. A messy room can make it harder to fall asleep, even if you don't consciously notice it. That's the idea behind tidy room, tidy mind. It's not just about aesthetics. It's about reducing visual and mental clutter. When your bedroom is disorganized, your brain stays slightly more alert. Piles of clothes, scattered objects, and general mess act as reminders of unfinished tasks. That low-level stress can keep your nervous system in a more active state, which isn't helpful when you're trying to wind down. Your sleep environment matters. The brain is constantly scanning your surroundings for cues. A clean, simple room sends the message that it's safe to relax. A cluttered one keeps your attention fragmented, even when the lights are off. This doesn't mean you need to deep clean your entire room every night. Small changes make a big difference. Put laundry in a hamper instead of on a chair. Clear your nightstand. Close drawers and closet doors. Just a few minutes of tidying before bed can lower stimulation and make the space feel calmer. It's also helpful to keep surfaces minimal. The fewer visual distractions in your field of view, the easier it is for your brain to quiet down. Some people even go as far as removing work-related items, bright decor, or anything associated with daytime activity. Tidy surroundings also make it easier to build a consistent nighttime routine. When everything is in its place, there's less resistance to preparing for bed. The act of tidying can even become part of that routine, a short, predictable step that signals the day is winding down. A clean room won't put you to sleep on its own, but it removes one more barrier between you and rest. It creates the kind of environment your brain prefers when it's time to turn off. No news after dinner. The news doesn't go to sleep when you do, but your brain needs to. That's why the no news after dinner rule exists. It's a simple boundary that helps protect your sleep by reducing exposure to emotionally charged information in the evening. Whether it's headlines, breaking alerts, or opinion panels, most news is designed to grab your attention and keep you engaged. That's a problem when you're trying to relax. After dinner, your body is supposed to start winding down. Melatonin levels begin to rise, your heart rate slows, and your nervous system shifts gears. But watching or reading the news late in the day can trigger the opposite response. It activates your fight or flight system, raising cortisol, increasing mental activity, and delaying the natural process of falling asleep. This doesn't just apply to TV. News apps, social media feeds, or even checking headlines on your phone can have the same effect. You might not feel actively stressed in the moment, but your brain still registers the information and keeps working on it long after you've closed the app. Instead, try making dinner the cutoff point. After that, switch to lower stimulation content. Watch something light, read a book, or listen to music. You're not ignoring the world. You're choosing when to engage with it. And by setting that boundary in the evening, you give your brain the space it needs to transition into rest. If staying informed is important to you, consider reading the news earlier in the day when your brain is better equipped to process it. That small shift in timing can make your nights more peaceful without sacrificing awareness. The goal is to create a buffer between daily stress and bedtime. Cutting out the news after dinner is a straightforward way to support that buffer. NSDR stands for Non-Sleep Deep Rest. It's a simple but powerful technique for reaching a state of deep relaxation without actually falling asleep. You're not trying to knock out or drift off. you're staying awake, but allowing your body and mind to slow down dramatically. Think of it like putting your brain on airplane mode, still on, but no longer processing noise, stress, or demands. The most common form of NSDR is a guided voice recording. You lie down, close your eyes, and listen as you're walked through a series of cues. Body awareness, breath focus, and gentle attention shifts. There's no movement involved and no performance required. It's structured rest. Rest that's deliberate, not passive. NSDR works by activating the parasympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for calm, digestion, and recovery. That shift takes your body out of alert mode and helps it reset. Research shows that even short sessions can help improve memory retention, lower stress hormones, and restore energy. Some people use it midday for a mental refresh. Others use it before bed to prepare for deeper sleep. Unlike traditional meditation, NSDR doesn't ask you to concentrate or clear your thoughts. It just guides your attention gently. That makes it especially helpful for people who feel mentally restless or overstimulated. It's also used by athletes, professionals, and even students as a fast, reliable way to recover focus. All you need is a quiet space, a pair of headphones, and about 10 to 30 minutes. There's no special training, no gear, and no need to be good at relaxing. NSDR gives your brain what it rarely gets: intentional, structured downtime. No clock watching. Waking up in the middle of the night isn't a big deal until you check the time. That one glance at the clock can turn a brief wake-up into a long stretch of restlessness. The idea behind no clock watching is to avoid turning sleep into a countdown. When you check the time, your brain starts doing mental math. You calculate how many hours you have left. You judge whether you've slept enough. And you start to worry if you'll fall asleep again in time. That mental shift pulls you out of a relaxed state and into problem-solving mode. Your brain becomes more alert, not because something's wrong, but because you gave it a task. The result is that sleep becomes harder, not because of the time itself, but because of how your mind reacts to knowing it. To avoid this, remove any visible clocks from your line of sight. That includes wall clocks, digital alarm displays, and phones. If you use your phone as an alarm, flip it face down or set it across the room. If you use a clock radio or nightstand clock, turn it away from the bed or cover the display. Not knowing the time actually helps your brain relax. Without a number to fixate on, you're more likely to treat a middle-of-the-night wake-up as temporary and unimportant. That allows your body to return to sleep more naturally, without the added pressure of a ticking clock. This technique doesn't fix sleep directly, but it removes a common trigger for insomnia-related anxiety. By staying unaware of the time, you let your body, not your brain, decide when it's ready to sleep again. And that small change can make a big difference in how quickly you drift back off. No talking after 9 rule. Some homes have a no shoes rule, others have a no phones rule. But there's another habit worth considering: the no talking after 9 rule. This simple rule means exactly what it sounds like: no casual conversations, deep discussions, or last-minute problem solving after 9 p.m. It's not about being antisocial. It's about protecting your brain from stimulation at the exact time it's supposed to be winding down. Talking, especially anything emotional or even mildly intense, activates the mind. It pulls your focus outward, raises your alertness, and often triggers problem-solving processes. Even light-hearted chatter can keep your brain on standby, waiting for the next joke, question, or reaction. The idea behind this rule is to treat your brain like your body. Just as you wouldn't expect your muscles to relax while sprinting, you can't expect your mind to relax while it's still processing a conversation. Cutting off dialogue at a fixed time helps establish a boundary. It signals to your nervous system that the day is done. Of course, this doesn't mean total silence. You can still listen to music, journal, read, or stretch. But the absence of verbal exchange gives your thoughts time to settle. It lowers cognitive load. This is especially helpful for anyone prone to racing thoughts or difficulty falling asleep. Some people pair the rule with other habits, like dimming the lights or switching to softer activities. Over time, the brain begins to associate that quiet stretch of the evening with sleep preparation. And that consistency matters, because while sleep tips come and go, the most effective ones all share a theme: less stimulation, more structure, and a clear signal that it's time to rest. The no talking after 9 rule is one small shift that can make a big difference. 10-minute tidy. It's surprising how much mental clutter can come from just a little physical mess. The 10-minute tidy is exactly what it sounds like: a short, focused cleanup session right before bed. The idea isn't to deep clean or scrub floors. It's just about resetting your space so that when you wake up, everything feels calm and ready to go. Here's how it works. Set a timer for 10 minutes. That's your only commitment. You're not organizing the garage or sorting your wardrobe. You're just putting things back where they belong. Maybe you clear off your nightstand, fold a few clothes, wipe down the kitchen counter, or return shoes to the rack. Whatever's out of place goes back in place. This small routine does 2 things. First, it gives your brain a sense of order. Cluttered spaces can keep your mind slightly activated, especially when you're trying to relax. A tidy room makes the transition to sleep smoother. Second, it reduces the chaos you'll face the next morning. Waking up to a clean room saves mental energy. No piles of laundry or messes competing for your attention. It also helps reinforce the idea of closure. When you take a few minutes to tidy, you're telling yourself, the day is done. You're closing the loop, wrapping things up, and preparing your environment for rest. And because it's just 10 minutes, it's easy to build into your routine. You can even listen to music or a podcast while doing it. Over time, this tiny habit can have a big impact, not just on your space, but on your mental clarity. The 10-minute tidy isn't about perfection. It's about setting the tone for rest by removing the noise you don't need. Drink smart. Stop at 8. It's easy to think that staying hydrated all day means drinking right up until bedtime. But if you're waking up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, the real issue might be when you're drinking, not how much. The drink smart, stop at 8 rule is a simple shift in timing. It means finishing your last glass of water, or any liquid, by around 8 p.m. The goal is to give your body enough time to process fluids before you go to sleep. That way, your bladder isn't calling the shots at 2 in the morning. Here's how it works. After you drink water, your kidneys start filtering it into urine almost immediately. But depending on how much you've had, it can take a few hours for everything to cycle through. If your last glass is too close to bedtime, you're more likely to wake up for a bathroom trip. And even if you fall back asleep quickly, those interruptions can knock you out of deep sleep stages, which are critical for rest and recovery. This trick doesn't mean you have to drink less overall. It just means front-loading your hydration earlier in the day. Drink water with breakfast, keep sipping through the afternoon, but gradually taper off in the evening. If you're thirsty after 8, a small sip is fine. Just avoid full glasses or heavy herbal teas that act as diuretics. The result: fewer disruptions, longer stretches of uninterrupted sleep, and better mornings. Timing your hydration is one of those small changes that feels almost too simple, but it makes a real difference. Drinking smart isn't about cutting back. It's about knowing when to stop. Socks in winter, bare feet in summer. If your feet are the wrong temperature, your whole body notices, and that includes your sleep. The idea behind socks in winter, bare feet in summer is as simple as it sounds. In colder months, wearing socks to bed can help you fall asleep faster. In warmer months, skipping socks, or even sleeping with your feet out from under the covers, can help you stay cool and comfortable through the night. Here's why this matters. Your body temperature isn't constant. It naturally drops in the evening as your brain signals it's time to sleep. Warming up your feet in winter, usually with cozy socks, helps dilate blood vessels, which in turn helps redistribute heat and cool your core faster. That process makes it easier for you to doze off. But in the summer, it's the opposite problem. Heat gets trapped under blankets, and your feet, packed with blood vessels close to the surface, are a great way to release that excess warmth. Letting them breathe without socks can help your body cool down more efficiently, which promotes deeper and more restful sleep. This isn't just about comfort. Thermoregulation is tightly connected to sleep quality. If your core stays too warm or too cold, it interferes with your natural circadian rhythm. People often try to fix sleep issues with supplements or routines, but something as basic as adjusting your sleepwear based on the season can have just as big an impact. So the next time your sleep feels off, don't just think about what you're doing. Consider what your feet are wearing. A simple seasonal swap can help your body do what it's already trying to do on its own. Fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up feeling rested. No more snoozing. Hitting the snooze button might feel like a small act of kindness to yourself, but it can actually make waking up harder and leave you feeling groggier throughout the day. The no more snoozing rule is about breaking that cycle. Instead of allowing multiple alarms and extra bursts of fragmented sleep, you get up as soon as your first alarm goes off. This approach helps avoid what's known as sleep inertia, the heavy, foggy feeling you get when waking up from a deep sleep or repeatedly falling back asleep for short periods. When you hit snooze, your body tries to restart a new sleep cycle, but it usually gets interrupted just before it completes. That partial sleep is confusing for your brain and leaves you in a groggy state. Rather than refreshing you, those extra minutes can actually make you feel more tired and less alert. Stopping the snooze habit means setting a realistic wake-up time and trusting that getting up right away is better than squeezing in questionable extra sleep. It also encourages better bedtime habits. Knowing you won't be snoozing can motivate you to go to bed earlier or improve your sleep quality, so waking up feels more natural. Some people find practical ways to help, like placing their alarm clock across the room, forcing themselves to physically get out of bed. Others use alarms that simulate sunrise or play gentle music to wake them gradually, making the first moments of waking less jarring. At its core, the no more snoozing rule is about respecting your body's natural rhythms and avoiding unnecessary disruption. It's a straightforward change that can have a big impact on morning energy, mood, and overall sleep health. No overthinking rule. Your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy at bedtime, especially when it starts spinning with endless thoughts. The no overthinking rule is a simple but powerful guideline. When you get into bed, you commit to letting go of rumination, worry, and problem solving. Overthinking keeps your brain stuck in alert mode, making it harder to relax and drift off. At its core, this rule is about recognizing that bedtime isn't the right time to untangle complex issues or rehearse conversations. Instead, it's a moment for mental rest. Overthinking often involves looping thoughts, replaying mistakes, forecasting worst-case scenarios, or endlessly analyzing decisions. This pattern activates the stress response, releasing hormones like cortisol that interfere with sleep. Breaking this cycle requires a shift in mindset. One way to do this is by setting a mental boundary. When you notice your thoughts spiraling, you gently remind yourself that these thoughts can wait until morning. You don't have to silence your mind completely. That's unrealistic. But you can choose not to engage. Practical tools support this rule. Journaling earlier in the evening can help offload worries. Guided meditation or deep breathing can redirect focus away from racing thoughts. Some people find it helpful to have a worry box, where they jot down concerns and physically set them aside before bed. The no overthinking rule isn't about ignoring problems. It's about giving your brain permission to rest. When you stop feeding anxious thoughts at night, your nervous system can calm down, and you can enter deeper, more restorative sleep. It's a small mental adjustment with a big impact on how easily and peacefully you fall asleep. Quiet the room mission. The sounds around you have a bigger impact on your sleep than you might realize. The quiet the room mission is about creating a calm, noise-free environment that helps your brain settle into rest. Noise can come from all directions. Traffic outside, a humming air conditioner, noisy neighbors, or even the ticking of a clock. These sounds may not fully wake you, but they can interrupt your sleep cycles or keep your brain alert just enough to prevent deep rest. The mission starts with identifying what noises affect your sleep. Some are obvious, like a barking dog or loud music. Others are subtle, like the constant buzz of electronics or the creak of a ceiling fan. Once you know the sources, the next step is to reduce or eliminate them where possible. Practical solutions include using earplugs or white noise machines, which create a steady, soothing background sound that masks disruptive noises. Closing windows, adding rugs or heavy curtains, and sealing gaps in doors can also help reduce external sounds. Sometimes the goal isn't complete silence, but consistent, gentle noise that your brain can tune out. This is why many people prefer a fan or nature sounds over total quiet. It provides a predictable audio environment that prevents sudden disturbances. The Quiet the Room mission isn't about perfection. It's about awareness and action. Even small changes can make a big difference in how sound influences your sleep quality. By managing noise levels thoughtfully, you're helping your brain move smoothly from wakefulness to deep, restorative sleep. It's a practical step that transforms your bedroom into a true sanctuary for rest. Glycine for the win. If you've ever struggled to fall asleep, even when you're tired, glycine might be worth a look. Glycine is an amino acid. Your body naturally makes it, and you also get it from foods like meat, eggs, and legumes. It's known for playing a role in building proteins, but researchers have discovered something else. It can help you sleep better, not by knocking you out like a sedative, but by gently nudging your body into a more sleep-friendly state. Here's how it works. Glycine slightly lowers your core body temperature. That's important because as your body cools down, it becomes easier to fall asleep. This cooling effect doesn't just make you feel drowsy. It actually helps your body transition into deeper, more restorative sleep stages. Glycine also seems to influence certain neurotransmitters in the brain. Specifically, it can enhance the effect of GABA, which is a chemical that calms your nervous system. Think of it as reducing background noise in your brain. That helps with falling asleep, but also improves the quality of sleep you get once you're out. Most people who use glycine as a sleep aid take about 3 grams of it around 30 to 60 minutes before bed. You can find it in powder or capsule form. It's flavorless, mixes easily with water, and doesn't leave you groggy in the morning like some sleep medications. Unlike stronger interventions, glycine doesn't try to override your body's natural rhythm. It just supports what's already supposed to happen, cooling down, calming down, and winding down. For something so small, it plays a surprisingly big role in helping your body reset for the night. Melatonin timing. Melatonin supplements are one of the most common go-to solutions for people trying to fall asleep faster. But what most people don't realize is that when you take it matters just as much as if you take it. Melatonin is a hormone your brain naturally produces in response to darkness. It doesn't knock you out like a sleeping pill. Instead, it tells your body that it's time to start getting sleepy. Think of it like a signal, not a sedative. So if you're taking it right before bed, you might be missing its full effect. The timing depends on your internal clock or circadian rhythm. For most people, melatonin production naturally ramps up about 2 hours before their usual bedtime. That means the best time to take a supplement is about 90 minutes before you plan to sleep, not 5 minutes before you shut off the lights. The dosage also plays a role. Many people assume more is better, but in most cases, lower doses, between 0.3 and 1 milligram, are more effective than high ones. Larger doses can lead to grogginess the next day or disrupt your natural rhythm over time. Melatonin is especially useful if your body's clock is off. For example, if you're dealing with jet lag, shift work, or an inconsistent sleep schedule. In these cases, timed melatonin can help shift your rhythm earlier or later depending on when you take it. But even then, it's not a fix-all. It works best when combined with other sleep-supporting habits, like dimming lights and cutting off screens at night. In short, melatonin isn't magic, it's a tool. And like any tool, it works best when used correctly, with good timing, in the right amount, and for the right purpose. Salt lamp glow. A salt lamp might look like simple decor, but the warm glow it gives off can actually play a useful role in creating a better sleep environment. The idea behind a salt lamp is straightforward. It's a light source that uses a chunk of Himalayan salt and a low-watt bulb. But the reason it's gained popularity in bedrooms has less to do with the salt and more to do with the kind of light it produces. Unlike bright white bulbs or overhead fluorescence, a salt lamp gives off a soft amber light that's much gentler on your eyes and your nervous system, especially in the hour or so before bed. This matters because the body's internal clock, or circadian rhythm, is strongly influenced by light. Bright blue light from phones, tablets, and regular LEDs can signal to the brain that it's still daytime, making it harder to feel sleepy. But amber light, like the kind from a salt lamp, mimics the warmer tones of a sunset. That sends a very different message. It's time to wind down. Using a salt lamp in the evening can help create a slower, calmer atmosphere in the room. It's not about making the whole space bright. It's about having just enough light to read, stretch, or talk without overstimulating your brain. Think of it as ambient light, not task lighting. While the claims about salt lamps purifying the air or releasing negative ions aren't strongly supported by science, their role in setting the tone for sleep is more practical than mystical. It's a simple swap. Trade out harsh lighting for a low, warm glow and let that signal to your body that the day is winding down. The effect isn't dramatic, but it's consistent, and that consistency can make all the difference. Essential oil rollerball trick. Rubbing a bit of oil on your wrist might not sound like a sleep hack, but the essential oil rollerball trick is a surprisingly effective tool for winding down. It's simple. You take a small rollerball bottle filled with a diluted blend of essential oils and apply it to areas like your wrists, temples, or neck before bed. The scent is released slowly and subtly, giving your brain a consistent, calming signal that it's time to rest. Think of it like a portable bedtime cue, except instead of a sound or light, it's smell. Why does this work? Our sense of smell is directly connected to the brain's limbic system, which helps regulate emotions, memory, and stress response. Certain scents, like lavender, chamomile, and bergamot, have been shown to promote relaxation. When these oils are absorbed through the skin or inhaled, they can help lower heart rate, reduce stress levels, and ease the body into a more restful state. The rollerball makes the process clean and controlled. Unlike a diffuser that fills an entire room, the rollerball allows for personal use without affecting others in your space. It's also mess-free and easy to travel with, which makes it ideal for maintaining a bedtime routine anywhere you go. Some people use one blend consistently to build a sleep association, while others switch based on how they're feeling. Either way, the act of applying the oil itself can become part of a wind-down ritual, something your brain starts to recognize as the signal to slow down. It's not meant to knock you out instantly, but used regularly, the essential oil rollerball trick can help reduce bedtime stress and ease the transition into sleep, one scent at a time. Weighted eye pillow. A small bean-filled pouch might not look like much, but for many people, a weighted eye pillow is the missing piece in their nighttime routine. The idea behind it is simple. Apply gentle, even pressure across your eyes and brow to signal the body to relax. This technique, known as deep pressure stimulation, is the same principle used in weighted blankets, just scaled down for your face. It works by calming the nervous system, slowing the heart rate, reducing muscle tension, and encouraging a shift into a parasympathetic state, which is your body's natural rest and digest mode. A weighted eye pillow also helps block out light, which supports melatonin production. Even small amounts of ambient light, from street lights, chargers, or hallway lamps, can confuse the brain and interfere with the natural sleep cycle. By keeping everything completely dark, an eye pillow helps your brain get the message that it's time to wind down. Some versions go a step further and include calming scents like lavender or chamomile. These scents aren't just relaxing, they've been studied for their potential to reduce anxiety and improve sleep quality when used consistently. It's not just for nighttime either. People use weighted eye pillows during yoga, meditation, or short naps to help drop into relaxation faster. The effect is subtle but noticeable, especially when combined with other sleep-friendly habits like dim lighting and quiet surroundings. Overall, a weighted eye pillow is a low-tech, low-effort tool that offers a gentle push toward better rest. It doesn't require setup, charging, or even much thought. You just lie back, place it over your eyes, and let the weight do its work. Silk pillowcase coolness. If you've ever flipped your pillow over in the middle of the night to find the cool side, you already understand the idea behind silk pillowcase coolness. Silk pillowcases are more than just a luxury item. They actually serve a functional purpose in helping you sleep better. Unlike cotton, which absorbs moisture and traps heat, silk has a naturally smooth and breathable structure. That means it doesn't hold onto body heat the same way. Instead, it allows for better airflow, helping your skin stay cool and dry throughout the night. The coolness of a silk pillowcase isn't just about comfort. Your body relies on subtle temperature changes to know when it's time to wind down. As your core temperature drops in the evening, cooler bedding materials can help support that process. When your face rests on a surface that stays cool instead of trapping warmth, it can reinforce that natural cue for rest. Beyond temperature, silk has other benefits too. It's gentler on skin and hair, reducing friction that can lead to tangles or irritation. That's part of the reason why people with sensitive skin or curly hair often switch to silk. A silk pillowcase doesn't actively cool you like a device or gel pad would, but it works passively, by not interfering with your body's natural cooling process. And since it's something you use every night, the consistency can make a difference. There's no complicated setup or routine to follow. You just swap your pillowcase. For people who run warm, or who wake up with damp skin or messy hair, it's a small change that can deliver real comfort. It's one of those quiet upgrades that improves sleep without you needing to think about it again. Weighted hug pillow. Some nights, the hardest part of falling asleep isn't a racing mind or background noise. It's just not feeling settled. That's where the weighted hug pillow comes in. It's exactly what it sounds like. A heavy, body-sized pillow designed to wrap around or press against your body like a comforting embrace. The basic idea is rooted in something called deep pressure stimulation. When the body feels gentle, evenly distributed weight, like a firm hug or a heavy blanket, it responds by calming the nervous system. Heart rate slows, muscles relax. The brain starts releasing calming neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. These are the same feel-good chemicals that help regulate mood, anxiety, and sleep. A weighted hug pillow brings that same effect, but with more flexibility. Unlike a weighted blanket, which just lies on top of you, the pillow can be hugged, tucked between the knees, or curled around the torso. It offers a more interactive kind of comfort, which can be especially helpful for people who sleep on their sides or who tend to toss and turn. For people who experience anxiety, sensory sensitivity, or even just loneliness at night, the pressure of a weighted hug pillow can make the bed feel safer and more secure. It's a tactile signal to the body that everything is okay, that it's time to let go of tension. Most weighted hug pillows weigh between 5 and 15 pounds, depending on their size and purpose. Some are shaped like long bolsters, others like human arms or full body wraps. But the purpose is the same, to give your body something to press against and relax into. And in the world of sleep, sometimes that physical reassurance is what makes the mental part a little easier. Light snack rule. Going to bed hungry isn't fun, but neither is falling asleep with a full stomach. That's where the light snack rule comes in, a simple guideline for eating just enough before bed to feel comfortable without disrupting your sleep. The idea is to have a small, balanced snack if you're hungry before bedtime, but to keep it light and easy to digest. Eating a heavy meal too close to sleep can cause discomfort, indigestion, or acid reflux, all of which can interfere with falling and staying asleep. On the other hand, skipping food entirely when you're hungry might lead to waking up in the middle of the night or feeling restless. A good bedtime snack often includes a combination of protein and carbohydrates. For example, a small bowl of yogurt with fruit, a piece of whole grain toast with almond butter, or a handful of nuts with a few berries. These options provide nutrients that support the production of serotonin and melatonin, hormones that regulate mood and sleep. Timing matters too. The snack should be consumed about 30 to 60 minutes before bed, giving your body time to digest without feeling weighed down. Avoid sugary or highly processed foods that can spike your blood sugar and leave you wired instead of relaxed. This rule helps balance hunger and comfort, making it easier to drift off peacefully. It's a flexible approach. Some nights you might not need a snack at all, while other evenings a small bite can prevent sleep disruptions. The light snack rule is less about strict dieting and more about tuning in to your body's needs while supporting better rest. Curtain check. Your bedroom curtains might seem like just a decorative touch, but they play a surprisingly big role in how well you sleep. The curtain check is a simple habit. Before you settle in for the night, make sure your curtains are doing their job, blocking out as much light as possible. Even tiny gaps, thin fabrics, or curtains that don't fully close can let in streetlights, car headlights, or early morning sun. That stray light can disrupt your body's natural sleep signals. Light is one of the strongest cues for your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that tells your body when it's time to be awake or asleep. When light sneaks into your room during sleep hours, it tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime. This can reduce melatonin production, the hormone that helps you fall asleep and stay asleep. A proper curtain check means looking for gaps around the edges or between panels. If you find any, simple fixes include adding curtain clips, using blackout liners, or layering curtains for extra coverage. Even heavy drapes can lose effectiveness if they're not wide enough to cover the entire window, or if they're hung too high. For those who can't install blackout curtains, sleep masks can be a helpful backup. But nothing beats the simple act of closing curtains properly. Taking a moment to do the curtain check each evening sets the stage for a darker, quieter environment, which supports deeper, more restorative sleep. It's an easy, low-cost step that often goes overlooked, but its impact can be surprisingly big. Making sure your curtains are on point helps your brain get the clearest message. It's time to rest. Scalp massage wind down. After a busy day, tension often builds up in unexpected places, especially around your head and scalp. The scalp massage wind down is a simple technique that taps into this tension and helps your body transition into relaxation. A scalp massage involves using your fingertips to gently knead and rub your scalp in slow, circular motions. This action increases blood flow to the head, which not only feels soothing, but also helps release built-up muscle tension and stress. The gentle pressure stimulates nerve endings and encourages the production of feel-good hormones like serotonin and oxytocin, which promote calmness and well-being. What makes the scalp massage wind down particularly effective before bed is how it signals your nervous system to shift from alertness to rest. The relaxing sensation calms the mind and slows your breathing, helping reduce the physical and mental tension that can keep you awake. You don't need to visit a spa or use any special tools to do this. It can be as simple as running your fingers through your hair, applying light pressure in circular movements, or using a scalp massager if you have one. Some people like to combine the massage with essential oils like lavender or chamomile for added relaxation. Even just 5 minutes of scalp massage before bedtime can make a difference. It's a tactile, intentional act that draws your focus inward, helps clear your mind, and prepares your body for sleep. In a world full of distractions, this simple self-care practice creates a quiet moment, a signal that it's time to wind down and let go. The melting staircase. It begins with a shape in your mind, not an object, not a story, just a staircase, soft, slow, almost sinking under your weight. The melting staircase is a mental sleep aid built on the principle of guided descent. Instead of counting sheep or repeating mantras, this technique walks your mind down a staircase, one imagined step at a time, where each step feels slower, heavier, and more relaxed than the last. The idea is to trick the brain into mimicking the natural neurological descent into sleep by pairing imagery with a sensation of letting go. There's no need for perfect visuals. What matters is sequence. You picture yourself stepping down. Each step melts slightly underfoot. That softness becomes symbolic. Muscles relax, tension slips away, thoughts begin to lose their shape. The staircase might be lit or dim. It might spiral or fade into mist. But the pattern is consistent, downward, soft, and slow. Some people add narration, counting steps, syncing with deep breaths, or pairing each descent with a calming phrase like letting go or melting further. Others just follow the motion in silence. The strength of this technique lies in how it bypasses overthinking. Instead of analyzing your day or trying to solve sleep, your brain is given a job with no end point. It focuses just long enough to break mental loops, then slips into the default mode network, the state your brain uses to drift off. It doesn't demand focus, it rewards drift. You don't need to finish the staircase. Most people don't. The descent becomes the transition. Not a goal to complete, just a path to disappear into. That's the whole point. Sensory shutdown sequence. Most people try to fall asleep by thinking their way into it. The sensory shutdown sequence takes the opposite approach. It starts by turning the world off. This method is based on a simple logic. If your senses are still active, your brain assumes you need to stay alert. So instead of waiting to feel tired, you actively shut things down, one sense at a time. The goal isn't to fall asleep instantly. It's to remove the inputs that keep your brain in awake mode. The sequence usually begins with sight. You close your eyes and imagine dimming the lights in your mind until there's nothing left but blackness. Then you focus on sound. You mentally turn down the volume, tuning out background noise or internal chatter like you're sliding down a fader on a soundboard. Next is touch. You scan your body and imagine disconnecting each physical sensation, starting with your hands, feet, and slowly working inward, until it all feels far away. Some versions of the technique include smell and taste too, even if those senses aren't active. You imagine placing them in standby, like shutting off unused tabs in your browser. This imaginative act helps reinforce the message. Nothing is required of you right now. Your environment is safe. Your systems can power down. The sequence acts like a manual override for your nervous system. It shifts attention away from thought and towards stillness, which makes it easier for the brain to hand things over to its sleep circuits. There's no need to do it perfectly. The value is in the process, giving your mind fewer reasons to stay awake and more signals that it's finally okay to let go. Thought labeling. Thoughts don't always ask for permission. They show up, interrupt, and loop endlessly. Cloud labeling is a mental technique designed to handle that overload without fighting it. The idea is simple. When a thought enters your mind, you mentally tag it, like labeling a passing cloud in the sky. Instead of diving into the thought or trying to push it away, you name it and let it drift. For example, if you start worrying about tomorrow's meeting, you might silently note, planning. If a regret shows up, you mark it, past. If a random image or memory pops in, you just tag it, random thought. This technique comes from mindfulness-based cognitive practices, where the goal is to create space between you and your thoughts. You're not denying the thought, and you're not encouraging it. You're simply acknowledging it, assigning it a label, and letting it go. Like clouds passing overhead, they don't need to be chased or controlled. The key benefit is that labeling interrupts the emotional grip of the thought. A worry isn't just worry. It's now something you've observed from a distance, and that distance helps your brain avoid spirals. Over time, this method teaches your mind to see thoughts as passing events, not urgent problems that need solving. Cloud labeling is especially useful at night, when your brain starts digging up everything it forgot to worry about during the day. Instead of trying to argue with your mind, you just start labeling. Future, noise, doubt, to-do list. And one by one, you let them float away. It's not about achieving perfect calm. It's about practicing non-engagement. You stop fueling the cycle, and that's often all your brain needs to start winding down. clock hands drift. At night, staring at the ceiling can make time feel like it's standing still. But there's a strange trick that flips that feeling. Focusing on the slow, steady movement of an analog clock. The clock hands drift technique is a simple visual method that uses your attention, not to force sleep, but to allow it. Instead of trying to shut your brain off, this technique gives it a neutral, repetitive task, quietly tracking the movement of time. You don't need to watch the clock tick second by second. The idea is to gently follow the minute hand, or even imagine it in your mind, drifting slowly from one notch to the next. The slower you track it, the less mental energy you're using. That's important, because the brain can't race in circles while focusing on a calm, continuous motion. It's similar to a sleep meditation, but it uses a visual anchor instead of breath or sound. Watching or imagining clock hands drifting gives the mind something low effort to do. It removes pressure. There's no goal, no finish line, just a slowly turning hand, passing time at its own pace. This trick works best when you're mentally overstimulated but physically tired. The gentle movement keeps you from falling into stressful thought loops, like replaying the day or predicting tomorrow. And unlike staring at a phone screen, this form of attention helps the brain wind down. Even if you don't have a physical clock nearby, the technique still works. Picture the face of a clock in your mind and let the minute hand drift. No rush, no perfection, just a simple silent cue that it's okay to let go. Invisible blanket technique. It's hard to relax when your body still feels exposed or alert, even when you're lying in bed. That's where the invisible blanket technique comes in. It's a simple mental strategy that helps the brain simulate comfort and safety, even when the real world isn't cooperating. The idea is to use your imagination to create the sensation of being wrapped in something soft, heavy, and calming, like a warm blanket, even if one isn't physically present. Think of it like a mental weighted blanket. You're not actually covering yourself with anything new. You're just focusing your attention on the feeling of pressure, warmth, and stillness across your body. Start by lying flat on your back or in a position that feels neutral. Then, imagine a layer of weight gently settling over you, one area at a time. Shoulders, arms, chest, legs, feet. You're mentally cueing your body to relax by simulating that tucked-in feeling. It's not about controlling your thoughts, it's about redirecting them to physical cues. This technique works because of how the nervous system responds to pressure. Just like a real weighted blanket can signal the brain to enter rest mode, imagining that same sensation taps into the same pathways, calming your fight or flight system, reducing fidgeting, and slowing the breath. People who deal with anxiety, insomnia, or nighttime restlessness often find this trick surprisingly helpful. It doesn't require any tools, apps, or sounds, just a few minutes of quiet attention to the body. The invisible blanket technique is essentially comfort by imagination. When done consistently, it can become a reliable signal that it's time to wind down, not by forcing sleep, but by creating the mental conditions that invite it. The inner librarian. Your brain stores more information than you realize. Thoughts, worries, half-formed ideas, all crammed into the mental equivalent of a crowded bookshelf. The inner librarian technique is a way to bring order to that mess. Think of it like assigning someone inside your head the job of organizing, filing, and putting things away. When your mind races at night, it's often because dozens of random thoughts are all competing for your attention at once. The inner librarian is a mental exercise that helps you sort them out, not by solving them, but by placing them where they belong, so you can rest. The process starts with observation. Instead of getting tangled up in every thought, you imagine yourself, or a calm figure, standing at the center of a library. As each thought shows up, you mentally hand it off. This goes in the work section. That goes under tomorrow's problems, or this one's just background noise. You don't argue with the thoughts, you just sort and shelve. It might sound simple, but this mental act of categorizing gives your brain a sense of control. You're not suppressing anything. You're acknowledging each thought, then assigning it a place. That's often enough to reduce the sense of overwhelm. Some people find it helpful to add a visual cue, like closing an imaginary drawer or sliding a book back onto the shelf. Others use labels like "can't fix now" or "revisit later." The key is to turn chaos into structure, even if it's only symbolic. The inner librarian isn't about erasing your thoughts. It's about creating enough mental space for sleep to happen without dragging your to-do list under the covers with you. The whisper game. The moment your head hits the pillow, the brain doesn't always slow down. In fact, for many people, it gets louder. That's where the whisper game comes in, a mental technique that lowers the volume inside your mind by lowering the volume of your thoughts. Here's how it works. You take whatever thoughts are swirling around, worries, reminders, random phrases, and you mentally say them again, but as if you're whispering them. You don't actually speak. You just imagine your inner voice getting softer and softer and softer until it's barely more than a hush. What this does is simple but effective. It mimics the natural process of winding down. Just like lights dim at night, this mentally quiets the noise inside your head. The softer your internal voice, the harder it becomes to hold on to intense emotions or spiraling thoughts. The key to the whisper game isn't what you're thinking about, it's how you're thinking. You could take a stressful sentence like, "I need to finish that report," and mentally repeat it in a whisper. Not only does it make the thought feel less urgent, it signals to your body that there's no need to stay alert. Some people combine this with slow breathing or visualize the words being spoken in a dark room. Others layer it with repetition, whispering the same calming phrase again and again until it fades. It's called a game because there's no pressure to get it right. You're just experimenting with volume. If your mind keeps talking, you keep turning the dial down. Over time, your brain gets the message. It's safe, it's quiet, and it's okay to let go. Emotion dial down. Big emotions don't wait for convenient times. They often show up right when you're trying to fall asleep. That's where the emotion dial down technique can make a difference. The idea is simple. Instead of fighting your feelings or trying to shut them off, you picture them like a dial on a stereo. Anger, worry, sadness, whatever you're feeling, it's not a switch that goes from on to off. It's a volume knob. And with practice, you can turn it down gradually. Here's how it works. First, name the emotion clearly, not in a vague way like, "I feel bad," but something more specific like, "I'm feeling anxious" or "I'm frustrated." This alone creates a bit of distance between you and the emotion. Then imagine that emotion as a number, say an 8 out of 10. From there, you picture slowly turning it down. 7, then 6, and so on. You don't need to eliminate the emotion completely. The goal isn't to suppress it, it's to lower its intensity so your body doesn't stay in a state of alert. Some people visualize a physical dial on a wall. Others use their fingers, making a small turning motion. You can even pair it with breathing, turning the dial with each slow exhale. What makes this technique effective is that it gives your brain something concrete to focus on. Instead of being overwhelmed by feeling, You're now engaged in a mental task that's easy, repetitive, and calming. It's not about ignoring what you feel, it's about reminding your nervous system that emotions can change shape and that you're not stuck at full volume. Thought aquarium. Your brain doesn't always know the difference between watching a thought and getting swept away by it. That's where the thought aquarium technique comes in. The concept is built around a simple shift. Instead of being inside your thoughts, you imagine them as if they're swimming around in a glass tank, just like fish. You're not the fish, you're the observer. This small mental adjustment can create just enough distance to calm racing thoughts, especially when your mind is overactive at bedtime. To try it, close your eyes and picture your thoughts as little creatures moving inside an aquarium. Maybe one is shaped like a to-do list, another like a conversation you replayed too many times. Some thoughts will dart around quickly, others might hover. You don't need to stop them. You just watch. No judgment, no control. Just gentle observation. This taps into a mental process called cognitive diffusion. Instead of challenging every thought or getting stuck in loops, you create space between yourself and the mental activity. It's not about fixing the thoughts. It's about seeing them clearly from a safe distance. The more vividly you imagine the tank, the better. Give it glass walls, a light above, maybe even bubbles. Add structure to the scene so your mind has something concrete to anchor to. That way, the act of watching becomes more engaging than the content of the thoughts themselves. You're still thinking, but you're thinking from a place of detachment. That's often all it takes to slow things down. When thoughts feel like they're underwater, floating in a tank instead of circling inside your head, your body gets the message. There's nothing to solve right now. You can rest. White room fade-in. It's hard to fall asleep when your brain keeps replaying scenes, conversations, or to-do lists. That's where the white room fade-in technique comes in. It's a simple mental exercise that clears your mental stage, one object at a time. The idea is to imagine an empty white room, clean, quiet, and brightly lit. At first, you might picture it completely blank. But here's the trick. You fade in the scene slowly, using your imagination to fill in the details piece by piece. You don't jump to a full setting. You gradually build it, starting with the walls, then the floor, maybe the light source, then a single piece of furniture. Why does this work? Because your brain can't vividly build a scene and overthink at the same time. You're giving it a task just engaging enough to hold its attention, but not stimulating enough to keep it alert. It functions like a controlled daydream, except the goal is simplicity, not story. As the white room becomes more defined, you may begin to feel your thoughts slow down. The more you focus on sensory details, how soft the light looks, what the room smells like, how your footsteps might echo, the more your brain eases into a quiet, focused state. There's no narrative, no movement, and no dialogue to follow. Just space. It's especially helpful for people who struggle with intrusive thoughts or nighttime anxiety. Instead of trying to suppress the noise, you replace it with neutral imagery that fades in gently and predictably. The room acts like a visual reset button. You're not forcing your mind to be silent. You're giving it a blank canvas and letting it ease into stillness, one quiet detail at a time. Name drift. It's surprisingly hard to fall asleep when your mind won't stop talking to itself. One thought leads to another, and before long, you're rethinking your entire day. Name drift is a mental trick that interrupts this loop by giving your brain something dull, repetitive, and oddly effective to focus on, your own name. Here's how it works. You start by silently repeating your name in your mind. Just your first name, over and over. It sounds too simple to matter, but that's exactly the point. The repetition pulls your attention away from racing thoughts, anchoring it in something steady and familiar. After a few repetitions, you begin to let the name distort slightly. Maybe you stretch out the syllables. Maybe you hear it in a different voice. Over time, it stops sounding like a name at all. This phenomenon is called semantic satiation, when a word is repeated so often it starts to lose meaning. The brain begins to treat it like background noise, and in doing so, it lets go. That's the drift. Your name becomes a string of sound. The sound becomes rhythm, and the rhythm fades into stillness. It's not hypnosis or meditation. It's more like giving your mind a toy to play with until it gets bored and powers down. This works especially well if your thoughts tend to spiral around identity-based stress, like work pressure, social anxieties, or self-evaluation. Using your own name as the focal point is a clever inversion. You're not escaping yourself. You're neutralizing the mental noise around who you are. It's quiet, it's repetitive, and it requires no preparation. Just close your eyes, start repeating your name, and let it slowly melt into nonsense. When it loses meaning, so does the chatter that comes with it. Object zoom out. Your brain can't fall asleep if it's stuck inside your own head. One way to loosen that grip is to focus on something outside of it, something small, visual, and simple. That's the idea behind the object zoom out technique. It starts by picturing an ordinary object in your mind. Maybe it's a teacup, the doorknob, a paperclip, anything with shape, edges, and a clear surface. Then you mentally zoom out from it, slowly, like a camera pulling away in a film. As your view expands, the object becomes part of a bigger scene. Maybe the paperclip is on a desk. Maybe the desk is in an office. Maybe the office is in a quiet building with the lights off. This kind of visualization isn't about storytelling. It's about spatial detachment. Each layer of zoom out nudges your brain further from immediate worries. You're giving it something neutral to track. Not exciting, not emotional, just visually consistent and stable. What makes this trick work is how it overrides the brain's tendency to loop around self-directed thought. Sleep struggles often begin with internal monologues. What happened today? What's coming tomorrow? What you should have done differently. Object zoom out gently redirects that loop away from inner space and toward external imagination. And there's no need to force detail. The point isn't accuracy, it's depth. As you zoom out, let the scene grow more abstract. Shapes instead of specifics, hints of space instead of rooms. Eventually, your mind begins to drift into the kind of fuzzy awareness that mimics early-stage sleep. It's a quiet form of mental distancing, not by running from thoughts, but by gradually outgrowing them, frame by frame. The puppet limbs trick. When you're lying in bed and your limbs feel restless, your brain is still gripping them like a marionette. The puppet limbs trick is about loosening that control. Here's how it works. You lie flat on your back, arms and legs stretched out naturally. Then, one by one, you imagine each limb as if it were a puppet arm, with its strings being slowly snipped. Start with your right hand. Imagine invisible threads holding it up, stretching to the ceiling. Now picture scissors gently cutting those threads. As they snap, the limb gets heavier. Not numb, just detached. Like it's not your job to move it anymore. Then do the same with your elbow, your shoulder. Move to the other arm, then each leg. Mentally clip the strings until your body feels like it's no longer held up or directed by you. The goal isn't paralysis, it's perceived disconnection. You're telling your nervous system, we're not in motion anymore. This helps signal that it's time to shift from action to stillness. That switch is key, especially if you've spent the day doing, moving, scrolling. Sleep doesn't just require tiredness, it requires surrender. This trick also exploits something called proprioceptive fading. That's when your brain stops tracking parts of your body because they're not moving and there's nothing to monitor. It's a real physiological process. The less sensory input your brain receives from a limb, the more it lets go of it. And the moment your body starts to feel distant or floaty, you're on the edge of sleep's doorway. Not because you forced it, but because you gradually handed control back to the deeper systems already designed to take you there. Internal whisper conversation. You know that voice in your head that narrates your day? The one that reminds you of things, replays moments, or walks you through what to say next. The internal whisper conversation builds on that voice, but uses it to calm your system instead of keeping it busy. This technique works by creating a private, whispered dialogue inside your mind. But here's the catch. It's intentionally slow, quiet, and soothing. Instead of letting your inner voice run wild with random thoughts or worries, you guide it like a calm, supportive friend talking you down from a long day. You can start by addressing yourself in the second person, like, "You're okay," or "Let it go." Then let the conversation unfold gently. It's not about logic or planning. It's about creating the feeling of being comforted. And the trick is to keep the tone quiet, not just in words, but in mental volume. Almost like you're whispering to yourself from across a dark room. This subtle shift helps signal safety to the brain. When your inner dialogue drops its speed and intensity, your nervous system follows. That's especially useful when your body is tired, but your mind won't stop pacing. Whispered internal speech is less stimulating than normal thought. It gives the brain something to focus on without triggering alertness. Over time, this becomes a practice rhythm, whispered reassurance, followed by stillness, a cue, followed by quiet. You're basically simulating the kind of soft, steady presence we associate with being comforted by someone else, but from within. The beauty of the internal whisper conversation is that it gives your mind something to do while still helping it let go. It's not silence, but it leads to it, one line at a time.